Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Oni's Advocate.
This is the segment of Otaku Kaigai Review where we really get into the hottest and most unpopular opinions in anime and manga.
I'm Kitsune.
And I'm Yuki. And today we are stepping a little bit away from our usual seasonal anime deep dives.
Yeah, we're looking at a massive piece of pop culture history that has been, let's just say, reinterpreted recently.
That's a gentle way to put it.
It is. As always, this segment is inspired by our senior editor, Shan of Otaku Kaigai Review. And just a quick note for you, his name is Shan, pronounced just like you'd say Dan or Stan.
And in this segment, we dive deep into Shan's articles playing the devil's advocate.
Or in our case, the Oni's Advocate.
The article we are dissecting today has a title that really doesn't pull any punches.
No, it does not. It's called, Here We Go Again, Confusing, a Simple Story just to Promote Modern-Day Gynocentric Feminism for Cash. Why?
Wow. Yeah, just hearing it out loud, you feel the heat coming off it.
And, as you'd expect, some people had a real problem with this article. It's aggressive, it's direct.
It definitely challenges what we're all sort of told to think about modern media.
But the funny thing is, Shan knew they would. The text says he pretty much anticipated the backlash because of how, quote, conditioned people are these days.
It's like he set a trap and then just watched everyone walk right into it.
Exactly. The idea is that audiences have been programmed to accept certain narrative changes as progress, even when those changes kind of degrade the original story.
So that's our mission today. We're going to unpack this. We'll look at the erosion of lore, the shifting character archetypes, and why the source thinks this all matters so much.
So let's just jump right into the deep end. The article opens with a really simple question.
Yeah. How hard is it to tell a simple damsel in distress story?
And, before you jump to conclusions, the source clarifies right away, this isn't about hating women.
Right. Shen explicitly says, if anything, that's the modern mental programming talking. The argument here is all about storytelling.
Yeah.
It's about accuracy, rhythm, and this girl boss shift.
Okay, let's define that for a second. We hear girl boss thrown around a lot. But in the context of the new Super Mario Bros. Movie, what does that actually mean?
It means a competence inversion. The real sticking point is the portrayal of Princess Peach.
Right.
In the recent movie, there's just a massive departure from the source material. The article highlights that scene where Mario, the hero of the franchise, the guy whose name is on the box, basically has to learn from Princess Peach how to be Super Mario.
Which, when you really stop and think about the logic of that world, is just bizarre. Why would a princess need to train a plumber from Brooklyn?
That is the question the article just hammers home again and again. Why is she the expert?
I mean, in the movie, she's running that obstacle course like a pro. She's doing parkour. She's an expert with the power-ups.
Exactly. And the source points out the absurdity of it. Mario is supposed to be the one to save her.
Right, that's the whole plot.
But in the movie, she's the one teaching him. She's the combat expert. She's, better at being Mario than Mario is.
It feels like they just wanted to make her an empowered feminist icon, which is fine on its own, but does it actually fit the character's background?
No. And that's where we need a quick lore check.
Yeah.
A lot of people might just assume, oh, well, she's a warrior princess like Xena. But the article points back to Super Mario Bros. 3 and the 90s media.
Okay.
Peach isn't a military leader. She has a father, King Toadstool.
I completely forgot about King Toadstool. He was in the old cartoons, wasn't he?
He was, and he's in the original manual lore. He's the king of the Mushroom Kingdom. And this is crucial because in a traditional monarchy, true royalty, a princess, a queen, they represent the state. They have subjects to handle the fighting.
The Toads, the royal guards.
Exactly. Royalty doesn't get their hands dirty. They command. They don't brawl.
Yeah.
That's a specific kind of power. But the movie just strips that away to make her a physical fighter.
The article even lists all the new jobs they gave her. She's a captain, a battlefield general, a combat expert, a biker, a spy.
It's a lot. Shan asks this really funny but sharp question. How can you play first, second, and third base while pitching?
It creates a redundancy problem, right? If she is this competent, if she's literally better than Mario at everything,
then why is Mario even there? It just strips the protagonist of his whole purpose.
that is the million-dollar question. If she can fight better and lead the army, Mario is just kind of a tourist, a sidekick in his own movie.
And this brings us to the deeper philosophical issue the article raises.
Which is...
Why is seeing a powerful, heroic man wanting to protect a woman now considered toxic?
Oh, this is a really heavy point. The article argues that the whole damsel in distress trope has been vilified.
It has. Shan asks why we've decided that a man wanting to save a woman from a monster is somehow offensive. The original story was simple.
Bad guy takes princess, hero saves princess.
Yeah. And it inspired boys playing the game to want to be protectors, to use their strength for good. It was a noble thing.
It framed masculinity as something to be used for others, to protect.
Precisely. But the modern spin reverses this entirely.
Yeah.
The source suggests that Hollywood has basically brainwashed audiences into rejecting any female character who needs help.
It's seen as a weakness instead of just a plot device that kicks off the hero's journey.
So the thinking now is, if a woman needs saving, she's weak. Therefore, she must save herself.
But if she saves herself then, what is the man doing?
Well, according to the text, his character is being assassinated.
Ouch. What's so wrong with just telling the original story? Why couldn't Mario just be the hero?
Because that would require admitting that men and women have different roles in this specific, very simple story. If you look at the original Mario from the cartoons, or Super Mario 64,
Yeah.
he was brave, he was bold, a little reckless, he was thrilled to save the kingdom, he never hesitated.
I remember in Super Mario 64, you just jump into the painting and you're off. Let's go. No big existential crisis.
But contrast that with the movie's Mario. Shan calls him a bumbling, insecure idiot.
It's harsh, but looking back at the film, he is constantly stumbling. He's so unsure of himself, always needs a pep talk.
The article uses a very, let's call it a vivid metaphor.
Okay.
It says the movie's about Mario finding himself as a man while Peach holds his masculinity, or as the source puts it, his wee-wee, in her purse for him to take.
That is a savage visual, but it does drive the point home about his agency. It's completely stripped from him and handed over to her.
And here's the kicker. If Peach isn't the damsel, does the movie just not have one?
Oh, it has one. We have to talk about Luigi.
Poor Luigi. The article points out that the damsel role didn't go away. It was just shifted onto him.
So, wait, let me get this straight. It's okay for a man to be the damsel in distress, captured, helpless, needing rescue.
Caged, yeah.
But it's politically incorrect for a woman to be in that same role.
According to the logic of the film's writers, yes. It reinforces this idea that for a woman to be strong, she has to take the traditional male hero role, which leaves the actual men to be either incompetent or victims.
It's like a zero-sum game in their eyes.
And it's not just the first movie. The article gets into the sequels and the broader lore. Because, people will argue, well, in later games, Peach is playable, she's stronger.
That's true. Like in Super Princess Peach or 3D World, she is definitely less of a damsel. She doesn't always need Mario to save her.
But the article makes a critical point. This movie isn't adapting the later games. This is the beginning. It's an origin story.
You can't start with all the character development already finished.
Exactly. And even then, look at Super Mario Galaxy. People call that the peak of the franchise.
Galaxy is a masterpiece. But even in that game, isn't she still the damsel?
Absolutely. The article focuses on how even in Galaxy, she's trapped in her castle, which has been ripped into space. She sends letters, she sends power-ups. She's the emotional anchor, not the warrior.
But the movie trailers and sequels seem to be retconning that, showing her as this umbrella, weapon-wielding, kung fu-kicking warrior again.
And then we get to Princess Rosalina.
Oh, boy. The space mother herself.
The article brings her up, and Shan admits that her inclusion is, story accurate. That part is fine. But the portrayal is where the issue comes in.
It's the overpowered critique again, isn't it? In the games, Rosalina is a guide. She's elegant, mystical, almost godlike, but detached.
Right. She can reset the universe, but she doesn't get into a fistfight with Bowser.
But the article criticizes the modern take for making her seem ridiculously overpowered. The implication is that she doesn't need Mario or Peach or even God.
It feels more like they're just checking boxes. If she's that strong, why hasn't she just solved the Bowser problem herself? It's power just for the sake of messaging, of screaming, she doesn't need no Mario.
It really does seem to boil down to that. But I want to pivot for a second, because I know a lot of people listening are probably thinking, okay, fine, lore accuracy. But it's a movie. What is she supposed to do? Sit in a castle the whole time? That's boring.
That is the #1 counter-argument. She has to be active to be interesting. But the source suggests that this is actually a failure of imagination from the directors.
Right. The article proposes that really interesting sitcom alternative.
Yes. You can understand why people would think, oh, what is she supposed to do? Sit in a castle. But a great director can make scenes in one location exciting. Sitcoms do it constantly.
So paint us a picture. How do you make Peach in a cage interesting without just turning her into a ninja?
You could have these funny scenes of her constantly trying to escape. Or, and I love this idea, she could form a secret coalition with the other minions in the castle.
Like she's unionizing the Goombas and Koopas against Bowser from the inside.
Exactly. And that shows a different kind of power. It shows the power of femininity that commands the room, instead of forcefully demanding it with attitude or physical strength.
That's a great distinction, commanding versus demanding.
And imagine the comedy. She gets really close to escaping, but then fails in a funny way and has to try again. It could be a slapstick routine.
And you could still show her sending power-ups to Mario. That gives her agency. She's helping him save her. It's a partnership.
But instead, we get the action hero. And the article argues that instead of the grace and hope that Peach represents, she's forced into the only role modern media seems to accept for women.
It really narrows the definition of what a strong woman can be. Like, you're only valuable if you can punch as hard as the hero.
And it throws off the story's natural rhythm. The article says it best. If everyone is a hero, then no one is a hero. If Peach is a tank, and Mario is a hero, and Toad is a hero, the dynamic is just flat.
I want to talk about the generational aspect of this too, because it's not just about us old school gamers, it's about the kids getting into the franchise now.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine a kid who's never played Mario before. They see the movie, they love Ninja Peach, then they finally pick up a controller and buy the game.
They're going to be so confused. Wait, why is she getting kidnapped? Why is she just baking a cake at the end? Why is Mario so cool in the game but kind of a loser in the movie?
It creates this total disconnect between the movie they saw and the legacy games that built the franchise.
And yet, if you go online and look at the comments, people will defend these changes to the death.
That's the programming defense.
Yeah, you always see, it's just a kid's movie, or why do you hate strong women?
And the verdict from the source is that these people are defending their programming, not the story. They aren't defending the lore of Super Mario. They're defending the modern ideology that Hollywood sold them.
It becomes a way to shield the movie from any real criticism. If you critique the writing, you're just labeled a misogynist. It's a perfect shield.
And that leads us to the harsh reality check at the end of the article. Despite the lore breaking, the character assassination, what's the real-world outcome?
The movie will make millions again. Because it's Mario.
It is. It's animated beautifully, it's visually stunning, and crucially, it fits what is modernly acceptable.
That phrase, modernly acceptable, is doing a lot of work there. It basically means it's safe for investors.
The sad truth, as Shan puts it, is that people just don't seem to care about story accuracy anymore. They've either forgotten how or they've just given up. They just want to be entertained.
They want the bright colors, the familiar sounds, the nostalgia, even if the soul of the thing has been completely hollowed out.
It's a resignation. Here we go again, indeed. But we're left with this frustration. We traded grace and hope for a generic action figure.
And we traded a genuine hero's journey for a therapy session for a plumber who never needed one.
Well, that's certainly one way to put it.
It's a troubling thought to leave you with, but that's what we're here for, to ask the questions that the box office numbers just ignore.
Exactly. And that wraps up our deep dive into the eroding foundation of the Mario mythos.
Thank you for listening to the Oni's Advocate on Otaku Kaigai Review. See you next time.